This presentation is all about how a recession or a period of reduced business activity can affect the four functions of a business: the marketing, human resources, finance and operations functions. Don't forget that operations includes the manufacturing, the production, the factory, logistics and procurement, okay? But recessions and, well, let's say bad times in business affect all the areas of a business. You need to know that list of four. It affects businesses in many ways, but let's start by looking at marketing and the marketing function. In a recession, a business will have to review and change its marketing mix. It might look at the products it sells. Should it get rid of some of the products? Does it need to innovate them? It needs to look at its pricing. Should it change its pricing strategy from perhaps skimming to promotional pricing? Don't forget, that's the list of skimming, penetration, cost plus, promotional and competitor pricing. Maybe it needs to change its prices. Maybe it needs to look at the way it promotes its goods. Does it need to change its advertising? Does it need to offer discounts, competitions, etc., etc.? That is topic 2.4. But in a recession or when a business is worried, it needs to change the marketing mix. So next up is the human resources function. Well, in a recession, when a business needs to cut its costs, the first thing it will do is it will halt recruitment, so not take on any new staff. It may also look at making staff redundant in an effort to reduce costs. It may put a freeze on wages and salaries, so no pay rises, no overtime, because when people work overtime, like at weekends, they have to be paid extra if they are on an hourly wage, for example. So the human resources function has a huge role to play during a recession or when business activity slows down. So next up is the finance function, who can also play a huge role here. Well, the first thing they might do is renegotiate their contracts with suppliers in an attempt to reduce the costs of their raw materials. That will improve gross profit margins. So they'll renegotiate contracts with suppliers, for example. They may also review any loans they have with banks or other investors who have lent them money in an attempt to get better rates, to get a better deal with their loans. They may move their loans to another bank or investor. Again, when you have a loan, you have to pay interest on it, and those all add to your costs, so they may renegotiate their loans. And finally, the production or the operations function. Well, in a recession, if there is not as much demand for your products, the first thing you do is reduce output. Stop making as many goods and stop providing as many services as you normally would. If there's no demand or a lower demand for your goods from your customers, what's the point of making more? So the operations function can reduce output. With the help of human resources, it can look at how many staff it has in its factories or in the production areas. It can also look at logistics and procurement and find out ways of cutting costs there. But go with reduce output.